Hey Lovebugs, welcome back to Love Grind. Thanks for joining me tonight. Tonight we're going to talk about grief during the holidays. Really touching subject. Some of us have lost somebody or had a breakup, and it becomes pretty nostalgic and can get pretty lonely. So we're going to talk about that tonight, and just know that you are not alone. Why do the holidays trigger grief? The holidays poke at our memories, our expectations, our old wounds. Everything around you says connection, but inside you might feel disconnected or empty. Here are some reasons that it hit hard for us. Contrast effect. Bright lights, cheerful music, happy couples. Meanwhile, your inner world feels dark. That contrast makes emotions feel louder. Grief during the holidays is normal, intensified by triggers, traditions, and societal pressures. But you can cope by honoring feelings, setting boundaries, creating new rituals, like lighting a candle or sharing stories. What about rituals that break your heart open? Traditions are tied to people, right? And when these people aren't there, physically or emotionally, traditions can feel like reminders of what you've lost. We're all experiencing this human experience. I lost my mother, and this is the first time in life that she hasn't been here. And so I find myself on this low vibration, but then I have to pull myself out. People around us who are alive and supportive, they deserve new memories, but you don't have to be at 100 all of the time. Remember that. The holidays bring out everybody's highlight reels, but behind all of that glitter, there's a lot of people hurting quietly. So tonight, I want to talk about the ones who feel heavy this time of year. Ones who are grieving someone or something. The ones who smile in photos but cry themselves to sleep. If that's you, come sit with me. Even if you're surrounded by people, you can feel alone in your experience, especially if others don't get your grief or expect you to cheer up. What does grief actually look like, Lovebugs? Let's normalize what this season can feel like when you're grieving. Burst of sadness out of nowhere. Feeling emotionally numb. Feeling angry at the world, not wanting to participate. Wanting to participate, but feeling guilty about it. Could be crying in the car. Feeling tired, even after you sleep. You could overthink past relationships. Feeling disconnected from your body. Even feeling different. This year, you're not being dramatic. You're not being too sensitive. You're just processing this loss, and loss shows up wherever love once lived. What does grief have to do with codependency when the holidays aren't merry? You know what's wild, Lovebugs? The holidays make the world feel louder. Every store, every commercial, every damn Spotify playlist is like, be joyful, be grateful, be merry. And sometimes your heart answers like, I'm trying, but I'm hurting. I remember last year or the year before, I sat in a room full of people laughing, passing gifts, right? And my whole chest felt empty. Someone asked me, are you okay? And I said, yeah, I'm tired. But actually, I was grieving someone I loved that wasn't there anymore. That pretend smile grief, that's real. Holidays make you remember who you lost, who you used to be, who you wanted next to you this year but isn't. I felt so sad, and I remember Christmas is one of my favorite holidays, and I just remember what we used to do together, what we didn't used to do together, but it just made me so sad to know that they didn't want to be with me and didn't want to spend that day with me. And so it was a touching time. Different kinds of grief. Let's talk about that. Grief isn't just death, right? Sometimes you're grieving a breakup, and your body remembers how last year you spent the holidays curled up on the couch with them. Sometimes you're grieving the version of yourself who didn't know heartbreak yet. Sometimes you're grieving parents who are not alive, or parents who are alive but are not emotionally available to you. There's the grief of they're gone, and they both hurt. A listener once wrote, everyone keeps telling me to come be around family, but I feel more alone when I'm with them than when I'm by myself. Decide what you can handle, not what you should handle. Maybe you stay an hour instead of all night. Maybe you skip a gathering completely, and that's okay. Yeah, that kind of grief is real too. Why does it hit harder during the holidays? Well, the holidays, they slow us down. Fewer distractions, we're on breaks, more memories, more pressure to be okay. You know those moments where you're wrapping gifts or scrolling online, and suddenly your throat gets tight. Yep, grief loves to sneak in through the quiet spaces. Sometimes a song can take you out, sometimes a smell, sometimes an ornament, sometimes seeing a couple in matching pajamas. It's not that you're dramatic, it's that your heart remembers. Seeing those couple in pajamas really get me. I'm like, oh man, I don't got a man, but I gotta remember, this is my season to fix myself. What does grief and codependency have to do with each other? Well, if you're healing from love addiction or codependency, grief hits like a tidal wave. Because you didn't just lose a person, you lost the person you wrapped your whole identity around. That's why the holidays might make you want to text your ex, I miss you, even if they treated you terribly. And that's why you might feel guilty for not being the emotional caretaker for your family this year. That's why you might be tempted to slip into old patterns just to feel something familiar. One of the hardest parts of healing is realizing just because you're lonely doesn't mean you're supposed to go back. You're not weak for feeling that, and you're just human. We're all human. We all feel nostalgic, and we think that person will respond with love and care, and most of the time they won't. So just remember to take care of yourself during those moments. Emotions pass. Tiny moments of tender care. Let's talk about what helps. Honor your grief instead of hiding it. Just make sure you're allowing feelings. Accept the sadness, the anger, and the emptiness. Don't force happiness. Talk about it. Share your emotions and your memories with friends and family and support groups. Prioritizing self-care and seeking support from others or professionals. You can light a candle for the person you miss. Talk to them out loud. Write them a letter. Listen to some of their favorite music. To honor them, make a favorite dish even. Focus on giving. Volunteering or donating to a cause in their name can bring purpose to the season. How can you show yourself some self-care and support? Prioritize rest. We're all on break, so this is a time for us to get a break from schoolwork, from our jobs. You can ensure you get enough sleep, eat well, and exercise. Also, if you need to, seek professional help. A counselor or a grief support group offers a safe space for you to talk. There's no bias there. Be compassionate with yourself. Healing takes time, and your grief journey is unique. It surely is. And you can connect. Lean on loved ones for understanding and connection. Let your grief have a seat at the table. Don't try to hide it. You can lower the bar way down. You don't have to go to all the social gatherings and the Christmas parties. You don't have to decorate. And you don't have to take it. A quiet holiday is still a holiday. It sure is. You can create your own comfort ritual. Maybe it's a long bath, or cooking a meal only you like, or watching a movie that makes you feel safe. Not happy, but safe. Maybe it's drinking some wine. Who knows? Create your own comfort ritual. Give yourself a soft place to land. Tell one person you trust, hey, if I dip out early, don't take it personal. Or, can I call you if it gets hard? You deserve support too, not just to be the supporter. Sometimes when you're the strong person, people tend to think that you're okay, and that's just not true. If this season hurts, which it probably will, let me say this. Are you failing at the holidays? You're not behind. You're not broken. There's no grade for this. You're grieving, and grief is love with nowhere to go. Some years are softer than others, and some years can barely get through December. Some years surprise you with warmth you didn't expect. But wherever you are this year, Lovebugs, you're allowed to be there. So if your heart is aching tonight, if the room feels a little too quiet, If you miss someone with your whole body, you are not alone. I'm right here with you. And we'll get through this one breath at a time. Thank you for listening tonight, Lovebugs. Please use empathy, starting with yourself first. Have a very Merry Christmas. And until next time, I'm out.